various levels of consciousness to exist and work on different realms of existence. Number 6. It shows the evolutionary pathways that man uses to make his way back to God. Number 7. It shows the pathway that Kundalini takes on his journey to unite the soul with the spirit or Shakti with Shiva. Mantra is sound vibrations presented to the human race as Sanskrit letters, words, and combinations of words, all expressing the will of God through its many names of God. All sounds come from the first spoken word, from the superior being, the absolute God. The Sanskrit alphabet is 50 bits of sound vibrations from the first spoken creative word. This Sanskrit language was reportedly used to design vehicles of expression for the soul. It is said that mantra is the language used by the soul to bring the chakra components into manifestation. Mantra is embodied sound vibrations that have fell or sunken deep into the vortex centers of power that brought forward subtle and gross manifestation of Shakti. The Bindu, which is the spiritual germ of consciousness, the I am and the I, release the Nada wave that is pure soundless sound. This Nada wave moves forward and manifests the Shakti power out of the Shiva state of pure consciousness. This Nada wave that expresses itself as Sabda throughout nature manifests itself in a vehicle of consciousness that shapes and molds aspects of Shakti power into animate and inanimate objects. After the Shakti is manifested, it falls into a samskara state of being that becomes embedded impressions of Shakti power signatures, mantras and seed mantras, on the Jiva, which is the embodied consciousness within the chakra. These Shakti signatures brought about by Sabda Shakti, sound power, are described as the Sanskrit letters that expresses itself as bijas, petals, or seed mantras that are embedded in the chakras. In short, mantra is the mental impressions, samskaras, of the soul. When men intone these mantras or sound vibrations properly, it has a natural magnetic pull on these embedded Shakti power signatures within the chakra system. This is where the great power of mantra resides within man. Constant recitation of the mantra by man moves the embedded mantras, embedded Shakti power signatures, out of a state of samskara consciousness into an active state of Shakti power. Then the power of mantra begins to live in the practitioner, and the mantra yogi acquires the power to shape and mold subtle and gross Shakti power at will through the expression of the mantra. This Shakti power brought about by the soul releases a sound vibration and moves to engross part of itself in order to build vehicles of expression that the soul consciousness can work through. This is done through sonic vibrations that produce synchronizing frequencies that organizes the mind substance and cosmic energies that move forward to manifest the human structure. This is performed by the synchronized Shakti powers traveling down through Sushumna, the subtle inner core of the spinal column, as a united Shakti power. This Shakti power reaches the equilibrium point at the end of its descent through Sushumna. This is where the Shakti power moves into a 3.5 energy configuration that brings about a dormant state of Shakti power, which is called Kundalini. This 3.5 cold energy configuration blocks the doorway of Sushumna, creating a magnetic flux that forces Shakti to divide itself into a static Shakti force and a dynamic Shakti force. This is the point where the Shakti power moves from a whole state of being to a state where it becomes a not whole state of consciousness. At this level, the coiled Shakti is called Kundalini. It is here where it releases the para sound that manifests itself into 3 other aspects of sound that holds consciousness into manifestation. The Sanskrit sound vibrations that was used to formulate the frequencies of cosmic energies and mind substance through the points of consciousness, the Bindu, within the chakra systems moved forward and created the etheric structures, levels of consciousness, mental bodies, subtler bodies, astral bodies, and the physical body. Therefore, all Sanskrit mantra represents the consciousness of man and has a unique ability to shape and mold mind substance, prana, and matter. Kundalini is a pure sound vibration, which is an aspect of the consciousness will of God being expressed as Shakti consciousness. It also represents the true manifested consciousness of the soul. Therefore, Kundalini shapes and molds mind substance and pure cosmic energies. Now let me say that mantra is a power source, a sacred power source. Now what does this mean? Mantra is a sound vibration, which is a manifested form of Shakti power, invoked by consciousness, and can be harnessed to be used for good or bad. Just as Kundalini is a form of consciousness manifested as sound and light, which all three aspects of it is inseparable, it is also one source of power. It also is subject to be used for good or bad. Mantra is manifested by and through consciousness as sound. To understand this, we must have some knowledge of the science and philosophy behind mantra. The Sanskrit letters represents unmanifested sound, potential sound, or the potential desire to manifest sound. When the Sanskrit letters form a word, pada, it becomes an expressed conscious will and an aspect of manifested conscious will. When the Sanskrit words form a sentence, vakya, it's bringing into manifestation the conscious will on several planes of existence, as a wave of conscious energies permeating the realms of existence as embodied consciousness in the form of solidified light. Mantra, sabda, is the initial power that brought the all-pervasive mind substance and cosmic energies out of a static state of endless potential and brought about creation as we know it. This mind substance and cosmic energies, or Shakti power, used a wave of sound vibrations to move into perpetuated motion that brought about a chain reaction of modifications. This initial sound vibration creates the sada waves through the universe, which is absolute sound, unmanifested and manifested. What is sabda, or this absolute sound? In the ancient Tantric Shakti doctrines, we can see that akasha is noted to be etheric sound and is the carrying agent for all other Shakti Tattvic forces. Akasha is the all-pervading force of Shakti, and all manifested Shakti uses Akasha to form and shape all objects, subtle and gross. This sabda is lettered sound and unlettered sound. Lettered sound is composed of words, pada, and sentences, vakya. Such sound as this has deep meaning with tremendous power of shaping and molding mind substance and cosmic energies. This type of sabda manifesting as speech is eternal and springs out as the background power to all things. As John Woodruff in his book The Serpent Power stated, it existed before as it exists after. Such manifestations, such as a jar in a dark room which is revealed by a flash of lightning, is not then produced, nor does it cease to exist on its ceasing to be perceived through the disappearance of its manifester, the lightning. This lettered sound as speech can only be considered eternal when it rings from and before its first initial spoken word, or components of the initial spoken word that brought forth creation. The Shakti power was brought into active manifestation by sound, and it makes modification to creation by sound as well. Unlettered sound is the instrument used to bring forth the lettered sound conscious will, or the lettered sound conscious will, or embodied consciousness, Jiva. The embodied consciousness is an involved life stream, or an engrossed soul that has positioned itself on the path of evolution to gain thousands of karmic experiences as it throws off its engrossed and involved material form from life to life. The soul uses this wave of sabda sound power to move to and through involution and evolution. Later on, I will go deeper into this part of Mantra Shastra knowledge. In describing the nature of sabda in its various forms of modification that occurs through the all-pervading universal mind substance and the all-pervasive cosmic energy, Shakti, we must examine the potential of this power, the manifested state of this power, and the state of consciousness it leads from every modification. This wave of sabda is the supreme conscious will of the absolute God. It's this power sound that stood as the potential will of the divine architect. The unique ability of this initial parasound, sabda, as its power to shape and mold the power of universal mind and cosmic energies, which are the main ingredients of creation. The four aspects of sound. The parasound is a differentiation force, which is a united Shakti force of one consciousness, which moves forward into a Shakti force of many parts before actual manifestation. This is considered to be motionless, causal, sabda absolute sound, which exists within the Kundalini consciousness of man at the Muladhara chakra, at the base of the spine, and within the flame of the logos of earth, from which all life streams of this earth must pass through in order to enter the wheel of rebirth, samsara, on the realms of this earth. The para sound is a state of equilibrium where the life qualities, gunas of sattva, rajas, and tamas are suspended in complete balance. The aspect of this para sound that commences to move takes on a conscious power signature of Pashyanti sound. This wave of dormant conscious Sabda Shakti extends itself from the Muladhara chakra to the Manipura chakra, the navel center or solar plexus center. This aspect of sound, Sabda, is the first movement of the I consciousness and the this consciousness, or the whole consciousness that become many aspects of consciousness. This Shakti sound is a motionless force that represents first movement. It brings universal mind and cosmic energies into active manifestation. This aspect of Sabda consciousness is often described as Ishvara, a name given to a manifested state of modified consciousness that extends from the universal consciousness. The Pashyanti sound is state of consciousness where the gunas become unequal and sound is produced. The third aspect or stage of Sabda consciousness is called Madhyama sound, which is Sabda power that demonstrates the cognitive aspect of mental movement. This initial power of sound consciousness continues its journey by modifying itself from the Pashyanti sound located at the solar plexus center into the heart center, Anahata chakra, giving inner meaning to its movement. It is here where the naming of this Sabda power occurs. It is here where this sound power manifests its ability to mold mind and cosmic energy into shapes by forming the subtle bodies of man. This wave of consciousness can be easily seen in the physical body of man. We can actually say that there is a network or matrix of sound that extends from the physical heart in a series of sound vibrations that pumps the oxygenated red blood cells throughout the body while pulling the depleted oxygenated blood cells into the lungs to be oxygenated again. It is here where the Madhyama sound, through the letter or petals of the heart chakra, manifests the subtle bodies and physical body. Before this Madhyama sound appears, there is no outer form or object. Then the Supreme Conscious Will, in a manifested state of Pashyanti, modify itself as the inner Madhyama sound and is projected into the world as sensual experience, which moves forward as the final sound aspect of consciousness, which is Vaikari sound. The Vaikari sound is the fourth aspect of sound. This wave of Vaikari sound represents the gross aspect of consciousness as gross speech and gross physical body. This Sabda Shakti force is located in the throat center, Vishuddha chakra. The Vaikari Sabda is the corresponding gross aspects of the subtler forms extending from the Madhyama mental configuration. We can see these powerful forces at play in a true analysis of gross spoken speech. Spoken speech is a physical vehicle for thought. Organized thought is a subtler form of sound that resides in the inner subtle realms of man's mind. Coherent, gross, audible sound that expresses itself with words that make sentences to convey messages outside of the mental framework of your inner thoughts is the vehicle that subtle sound uses to project its subtle forms to the gross realms of existence. Sound represents organized movement. All movement has a point of origin and a destination point. Before the start of this movement, there had to be an idea or concept which can be considered subtle motionless movement before thought formation of the manifestation of that idea. Parasound, or the absolute potential of sound. This idea or concept acts as a point of consciousness, a power source of all potential that energizes mind and pranic forces into a definite form or shape. These energetic mental forms muscle themselves through the wave of the all-pervasive mind substance and cosmic energies, modifying these subtle particles into denser forms of matter, all through the power of sound. Therefore, sound is consciousness, and consciousness is subtle sound expressing itself as mental thought forms. These are mental thought forms, which are subtle sounds that express itself as audible sound in the form of spoken language, which can be described by words and sentences. Uttered speech is the manifestation of the inner naming of mental thought forms. 6 parts of a mantra japa. Every mantra has 6 components to it. These 6 parts of mantra give it the balance of power that we all seek within mantra. The designers, or may I say the discoverers of mantras, have realized this consistency within the science of mantra knowledge. All mantra sound is taken from the 50 letters or petals on the chakras that lie within the etheric bodies of man. The yogi masters that are able to go into deep states of meditation like samadhi and cosmic consciousness have heard and been able to intone the sound bits petals on the chakras. With these sound bits, which are called letters, varnas in Sanskrit, and seed mantras, or bijas in Sanskrit terminology, on and within the chakras, the masters of samadhi arrange them in a configuration that act as keynotes of sound vibrations that synchronizes the vortex centers of power, chakras, within the etheric structures. This synchronization of the chakras and etheric structures sensitizes these vehicles of expression to be able to translate the higher frequencies of mind substance and cosmic energies that normally flow through these centers undetected by the conscious mind. The masters of samadhi merge their conscious minds into their superconscious minds, bringing about a tremendous amount of awareness that opens the masters to the direct pressures of the divine laws of karma. This allows him to operate as the avatars do, where he operates within and under the strict divine laws of karma. It is this state of mind that the masters work from when they are formulating these mantras, measuring every fraction of force that's exerted within the sound quality of the mantra under the laws of karma. Now let us go over the 6 components of mantra. Number 1, the rishi, seer, guru, or master that gives the mantra. Number 2, the mantra meter, a measurement of the length of the mantra. Number 3, mantra devata, the presiding deity of the mantra. Number 4, mantra bija, the seed of the mantra. Number 5, mantra shakti, the cosmic energy or power of the mantra. And number 6, mantra Calaca, the power or pin that's hidden in the mantra. Receiving a mantra from a master or guru. The first component is the master or guru. This means that a master must give you a mantra that has lived within him, or a mantra that he had formulated from his ability to fully raise the power of Kundalini consciously through Sushumna up to the Christ center, Ajna chakra, into a deep state of samadhi, where the master works from a point of strict karmic control. Mantra lives within a person by the constant recitation of the mantra until the power of the mantra manifests itself within the auric structure. This means that the sound vibration that makes up the mantra manifests itself within you, and then when this person intones the mantra properly, it immediately synchronizes those chakras it's related to. The chakras are the true seat of man's consciousness. For man to synchronize the chakras means that he has increased his ability to receive the higher frequencies of mind substance that gives him the ability to hold cosmic energies in place. This also means that at this level of mantra development, when the mantra is spoken, a tremendous flow of cosmic energies move from one state of existence to another state or to a different energy position. Another way of stating this is to say that man's consciousness is moved from a low state of consciousness to a higher state of consciousness. Now, there's an ancient law of the universe that states that no one can pass a mantra onto another person without that mantra living within them. To break this law brings tremendous negative karma to the person that breaks the law. When the master gives a mantra, he passes on a part of his consciousness to the student he gives the mantra to. This is the subtle power exchange that happens between master and student. Measuring the length or count of the mantra. The second component is the measurement and length of the mantra, which governs the pitch, notes, and tone of the voice. There are several ways to measure the mantra. One of the most effective methods is what is called automatic counting. This method is where you use your hand to count the numbers of times you say the mantra. Each joint on the fingers is used as a point to count from, with the thumb scanning as illustrated in figure 4.2. The automatic counting method is a very effective way of keeping count without thinking of it so much. One round on the hand gives us 16 count. 6.75 rounds on the hand gives us 108 count, which is said that a mantra chanted 108 times consequently places a mantra on all known 108 chakras within the human structure. The second most effective mantra counting method, and a very popular method, is using the mala beads. The mala beads has a necklace-like design with 108 beads on a string that represent a mantra count that places the mantra on all 108 chakras, shown in figure 4.3. The mala beads are also designed to be used without thinking about the process too much. The 108 bead mala allows the user to place the chanted mantra on each chakra with one round of use of the mala bead. It also established a goal for the practitioner to reach on a daily basis to chant the mantra 21,600 times by going 200 rounds on the mala beads. It is stated that the soul secretly chants a mantra 21,600 times a day to keep a segment of his consciousness engrossed in etheric, mental, astral, and physical substance. The measurement of the mantra is an important factor in the practice of mantra japa. One of the great secrets of mantra is to predetermine the number of times that you will chant the mantra during that sitting or session of the mantra. This builds an apex or a framework of time that this Shakti Nada power has to move from a static state of power to a dynamic level and back to a static state of power. This creates a pathway and time frame for this mantra power to work within and through in order to manifest its power. Another key to unlocking the power of mantra is to always chant it no less than the number of letters that make up the mantra. For example, if a mantra has 3 letters, then you should say the mantra 3 times every time you voice it. Reciting Devata of the mantra. The third component of the mantra is the reciting Devata of the mantra, which some ancient texts call the presiding deity, whether it's a higher or lower power entity. The Devata is the mantra and the mantra is the Devata. When the mantra is recited with great devotion to the point where it lives in the man who is constantly reciting the mantra, the Devata of the mantra reveals itself to the devoted practitioner and then merges itself with its particular power into the auric structure of the practitioner, expressing its full power. The Yoga Sutra describes the Ishtar Devata as the spiritual forces that result from the constant recitation of the mantra. This deity is an aspect of the cosmic energies that make up or manifest the forces of the higher selves. The meaning of Devata here stands for the higher self of man, the great reflection of the soul of man that manages all his aspects of Shakti manifestation. The soul is the Devata aspect of man. The soul is the Devata aspect of man. It is the guardian of our destiny. It is the guardian of our destiny. The devotees of this ancient science recognize these forces that are called into play by the recitation of the mantra is backed by a deity that is strictly governed by the divine presence of the divine laws of the lords of karma, who make sure the divine laws of God prevail throughout all creation. The soul strictly follows the divine laws of karma, manipulating the karmic energies that produce from our constant thought and actions. The soul produces the right amount of karmic limitations dictated by law and karmic pressures needed towards conformity. Another interesting point of mentioning in the meaning of Devata is that 1. Mankind is here on earth for a reason, and that is to consciously control the rise and fall of the power of Kundalini up and down the inner core of the spinal cord, Sushumna, as told to us by Dr. George King, a great Western yogi master. He also stated that when man can consciously raise the power of Kundalini at will up to the crown chakra, he becomes a Devata, a guardian for humanity, because at this point, he has synchronized his consciousness to understand the higher frequencies in the mind, where he is able to understand the great laws of God, or karma. The mantra Bija, or seed mantra. The fourth component of the mantra is the Bija, or seed mantra, which is the significant word or series of words which gives it a special power. This is the root sound harmonizing the mantra with a keynote power signature. Sometimes this seed mantra expresses the essence of the mantra. I must note here that in every major chakra along the spine, a Bija or seed mantra is described. This Bija is the presiding deity in the consciousness of that particular chakra and expresses the mental level of existence that the Bija works from. It is the true state of consciousness that man works from. The soul of man works through the vortex center chakras of the body. It expresses bits of consciousness of the soul. The Bija is actually the first layer of the embodied consciousness, Jiva. The Bija of each chakra is the synchronizing Shakti consciousness of the chakra. In fact, it's only a part of the soul's manifested consciousness. There are about 108 chakras within the body of man, between the major, minor, and minute chakras. The chakra system can be called the conscious splitting instrument of the soul. The soul uses it to involve itself into gross forms of manifested Shakti through the use of a series of calibrated sound vibrations. The soul forms the bodies of expression that it works through. Each chakra Bija holds the essence of that particular vortex center, creating a whole realm of conscious existence. The mantra Shakti. The fifth component of the mantra is the mantra Shakti, which is the power of the mantra, the vibrational form set up by its sound. The Shakti power of the mantra is that force that carries man to the Devata that is worshipped. Mantra is a component of the Absolute's conscious will, the potential configuration behind all manifested Shakti, cosmic energies, and mind substance. Mantra Shakti commands mind substance and cosmic energies by creating various forms and shapes from its projected forces of sound vibrations. The magnetic power that Mantra Shakti has over mind and prana is because of its composition of the opposite forces in a state of pure potential as subtle Shakti power. The Mantra Shakti power is described through the symbolism, yantra, of the major chakras along the spinal column. Mantra is seen as the vehicle of consciousness used by the soul to manifest life on all levels of existence through the chakra system. Mantra is a calibrating instrument for massive forces of subtle Shakti powers through each chakra. The mantra Shakti power of the chakra system is deposited there by the soul during its involution process towards evolutional journey. They, mantra Shakti, are megabytes of powers deposited there by the soul to be released by the embodied consciousness Jiva during its journey of evolution back to godlike consciousness. In other words, this deposited power within the mantra is there for us to call upon, to aid us on the pathway back to the godlike conscious state that the soul and spirit exist within. Another quality of the mantra Shakti power is the conscious will embodied in sound vibrations of the mantra on each chakra. In the practice of mantra chanting, these Shakti qualities are projected from the chakras through Nadi System, purifying the Nadi consciousness with sattvic qualities of pranas or Shakti powers. The mantra Calaca. The sixth component of mantra is the mantra Calaca, which is the pillar or pin that supports and makes the mantra strong, or the pin which fastens the mantra together. This Calaca is the plug for the mantra Chaitanya, consciousness, that's hidden in the mantra. With constant, prolonged repetition of the mantra, the plug is removed and the name of Devata is revealed. Then the practitioner/devotee enters a visionary state, darsana. This visionary state is when the concentration on the mantra turns into the contemplation on the mantra, where the vast amount of stored knowledge and power within the mantra is released through the various psychic visions. A panorama of psychic visions occurs in all types of energy forms and symbols. It is believed that a sincere and earnest practitioner of mantra can bring this visionary state on within constant and continuous japa over a period of 4 years or 13 cores mantra, which calculates to be 10 million chants for one core mantra chanting, japa. Every round of mala beads holds 108 count of mantra chants. 13 cores of mantra equals 1,203,704 mala rounds, which is 300,926 mala rounds per year, and 824 mala rounds per day. Of course, this number is enormous. In fact, it's actually 130 million chance of a particular mantra in order to enter this contemplative visionary state of consciousness. Also, I must say here that a person's karmic pattern and position in their course of life will also determine how quickly someone reaches this state as well. I believe the stated number of 13 cores, or 130 million, of mantra is probably the maximum number that the average man will have to chant mantra earnestly as a devotee with great passion and godly respect in order to purify his auric bodies and enhance his consciousness. The power of mantra japa, chanting or repetition of mantra. Mantra is sound vibrations that molds, shapes, and transforms and transmutes vital energies and mind energies into higher or lower frequencies of operations. Tantric yoga tells us that constant chanting of mantra japa changes the samskara configuration within the auric bodies by replacing negative embedded samskaras with mantric samskaras. This actually changes the practitioner's karmic pattern. The auric body of man records all thoughts and actions of an individual. The recordings of these thoughts and actions are actually energy signatures brought about by the actions of thinking, breathing, moving, speaking, etc., which are the samskaras described in the tantric documents as thought impressions or subtler scars left behind by all the thoughts and actions of a person on the layers of their auric bodies. The accumulations of these samskaras are compounded over lifetimes of many reincarnations. These thought impressions or subtler scars, samskaras, become megabytes of energy signatures that come alive at specific times and under certain karmic conditions. They are the tools that help bring about the karmic pressures throughout all our lives. The central essence of man's consciousness is encased in layers of the auric bodies, moving from physical existence to the next life, afterlife, all the time encased in the same auric body, or course
I mean,
If it takes you 5 minutes.
that's if it takes 5 minutes. I don't think it takes 5 minutes to do 108 mantras.
If you do the fast chanting,
No, I don't think. Because I went into many visionary states with mantras. So.
I'm seeing if it's possible.
And then you got to remember what I stated. I sanctioned that with that. It depends on your karma too. Depends on your state of karma.
In previous lives, you've been chanting mantra and cleansing yourself, and
Yeah.
maybe
But everybody don't have the same level of contamination. So someone contamination may take longer than others. You know. But it depends on your level. So it's all about the auric configuration, the built up negative samskaras within the aura, which is a contamination that you did to yourself and your environment, and then the effort that you put behind it. So, that's an average, and I think that was given in the ancient teachings. I think even Sivananda mentioned the same formula inside his books for mantra japa. But that's like the average person is going to take them 4 years of constant chanting. And it also depends on the mantra. Because you just say the OM mantra, that's not going to take no 5 minutes to get to 108. It's not, it's not going to take that long.
I was thinking the first one.
Yeah. Even the first mantra, it doesn't take long to say the first mantra. Yeah.
Does listening to mantra
Huh?
count? Listening to mantra?
To listening to the mantra? The road of least resistance. It helps. Yeah, listening to the mantra does help. It helps.
like if you go to bed listening to it.
Yeah, that helps, but don't let that be the way, because you want to write that on your aura, as I stated in there. See, and what mantra does, mantra helps to rid the body of negative samskaras that you placed there. Because that's how you started down this road of what? Of involution and evolution. By what? By creating samskaras. The soul created the first samskara, which was these ultra megabytes of energy for you to use throughout the rest of your incarnations, So, but now it's our job to tap into that. But in tapping into that, we give a lot of we create a lot of negative samskaras on ourselves. It's kind of funny too when you look at the science, right? What the science, the largest part of our DNA, what the science call it? They call it junk DNA. When I heard that, I just laughed because, we have all these samskaras that we wrote on our auric fields, and it's essentially junk, is this contamination, So we have to get rid of it in order to allow the real power of the samskaras, of the original samskaras, to manifest themselves. And it's done through mantra. So is there any other questions? I know it was a lot there to take in. I know it was a lot there to take in.
It was in your response to the master theory saying that sound is like sound,
Mm-hmm.
and that they utilize both aspects for the
I stated it in there because because what does the sound do? What the sound does? Huh? It manifests? No, it don't manifest. What does it do? Well, it's the parasound manifests. But I told you all this 100,000 times. You got to go back to the basics. You got earth, right? When the sun releases the light, right, to earth, what happens? Huh? No, think about the Buddhas. What happened? You don't remember, huh? The Mahabhutas. I mentioned it in there, I think.
You said, what's the question? What do they do?
What happens, tell me what happens with the Mahabhutas. The Mahabhutas is part of the light, right? That's released from the sun. But what is the first Mahabhuta? And what is Akasha? More than that, what is it? I stated it in that chapter. It's etheric sound. And what does it do when it hit the earth? So what does it do? It molds. Right? And then it shapes. It molds and shapes the light.
It's a solidified.
And solidified light. Because all the other Mahabhutas that brings about the first you have the air, right, or the gases, and then you have and then from the gases the light manifests through the gases, right, from the sound, the gases, the light, which is the tejas or the agni or the fire, right, and then you have from there you have the cooling effect of apas. Yeah, and then you have the third, which is the gross solids. So it's, it molds the light. You cannot have light without sound, Although in our manifested world, we see sound moving slower than light. But that's an illusion. That's the state of consciousness that we live on.
So is this molding and shaping, that's the propulsion behind the orb moving?
That's the what?
That's what pushes the orb?
Yeah.
Is that
It's because sound is what?
consciousness?
Consciousness does what? It makes action possible, right? Without sound, you have what?
Static.
Yeah, you have static. You have Shiva. It goes back into the unmanifested. So in other words, that's why they gave us the knowledge of sound, because they want to tell us that when sound is created, is what? It's para first, right? Which is what? Pure potential, right? And then from there, from this pure potential, it brings about first motion, right? And then in the third, it creates the subtle world. So it's telling us that it's moving through the realms. It actually operates in multiple worlds at one time. And we should know that because why? We demonstrate that every day, right? Because why? You think something, and then you manifest an aspect of what you just thought. Through what? Through your speech and through your actions. So then, therefore, it's a power. It's a great power that's really untapped into. You understand now? Or you still confused? If you can't imagine that, it's just look at it as working that sound that the sound that we see on this side, right? It's more gross than anything. That's why we always talk about the 4 levels. This is the 4th aspect of it. The 3rd part of it is subtle. Right? And the 2nd part of it is what? It's the thing, it's the power that brings things into motion. So what can this be? What can this represent more than anything? Huh? Mind. So it shows you, it's,
Why isn't that will? Isn't will the motivating factor?
yeah, I mean, it's an aspect, all of this is an aspect of will. And then the first one is what? It's para. And what is para? Yeah, because why? It's what? It's unmanifested potential, right? When we talk about this, we say that this para comes from where? Do you remember? Anyone remember? Yes, from Shiva. Yeah. It goes that the Kundalini goes into a Shiva state, right? And it produces what? It produces the para sound, right? So each one of these are different realms. So it's hard for man is not measuring this, he's only measuring that.
At that point, it's so gross that it's slower than light.
Yeah. So, but yet it's the moving force of light. Light will not move unless consciousness have it to move. See?
That's one of the many questions that even scientists today are kind of confused about.
Mm-hmm.
How they say that sound needs like a plane of something, matter to move through.
Yeah.
Whether it's oxygen, gas, whatever. But they were confused because light moves through space outside of the Earth, where there's nothing. It's supposedly to them, it's empty space. Like how can a wave move through that? So they would attribute it to this ether, but they never really understood what this.
No, but it's been stated thousands of years ago that we just talked about it, right? We just said that what happened? A casa, right? That's how you spell it, yeah. A casa is what?
It's a carrying agent.
Huh? It's a carrying agent. Oh, where's the erase? It's not more than being a carrying agent is what? I stated it in that book. Etheric sound. So in other words, this etheric sound moves at tremendous speed, right? And it moves through open space because, in fact, when they describe a casa, they associate etheric sound with what? Anyone? What's the next thing no one knows? No. What's space? The etheric sound creates the space for the universe. So in other words, the Vok that comes out, it manifests this tremendous space to allow everything else to come about.
In our solar system, the controller of that is the sun, or it goes beyond the sun?
Well, the sun, we live in the grace of the sun because the sun helps to manifest our consciousness for the galaxy and the universe. In other words.
It's the sun in our solar system that sets a casa.
Yeah. But it receives a casa. It doesn't create a casa.
Yeah, it receives it from
Yeah.
the galaxy, or it's
It receives it from the unmanifested. From what the scientists call now the dark matter. All right? And then it brings it out,
which they still don't know what it is.
well,
They
we
put the title of dark matter.
yeah, but we call it the endless potential, the absolute. That's what we call it. We call it the absolute, which is that endless potential, which is silence, darkness. That's what we call it. So the yogis and the mystics been saying this for thousands upon thousands of years that they just getting to, But we is always written as this absolute unmanifested power within the universe, which you can contribute to the dark sky, and everything behind it, everything behind creation is the absolute, which is endless potential. So yeah, sound works on multiple levels of existence in order to manifest anything in the universe. Sound is the first product. It's the first product. Any other questions? Did I confuse anybody? Huh?
So like you described the process of how a thought comes through a second center,
Mm-hmm.
kind of swirls around and then causes vibrations, variations in the aura.
Mm-hmm.
Does a mantra work in a similar way? Does that come through a center and kind of push the aura around?
Yeah, same way. But the difference between a mantra of a balanced mantra, it vibrates it synchronizes the chakra in order to produce a certain level of mind and energy that reacts positively on the aura, on the auric field. Okay?
So you won't see that weightiness in the aura as soon as doing mantras?
No, you'll see the aura begins to spin until it becomes almost crystal-like, a clear crystal-like aura, and all the mass and the ugliness of it, it's reduced to either a small space or just a screen at the bottom, and that aura becomes vibrant, and then the aura, and if you do the mantras right, and then you'll see the exchange of this tremendous subtle energy that happens between those chakras and the universe, really, or the galaxy, or the earth. That's what begins to happen when you spin the aura. It creates a crystal-like screen. Dr. King talks about it on one of his lecture tapes. He talks about it too. I don't know if you heard it. You ever heard him talk about it?
I think it comes to mind.
Yeah, he talks about it. Go back and listen to his tapes when he speaks about the aura. And he speaks about mantra. and how mantra acts on the body. You know, so that's what it does. The centrifuge effect. That's what mantra has. Because why? It synchronizes the seed mantras, the petals within the aura. And that's what actually had the aura to spin. Remember, all consciousness runs through what part of the body? Huh? And through what? What comes up from the Muladhara chakra that creates the Nadis? See, the Nadis carries consciousness, and all the Nadis have to enter a seed mantra, a Bija. It enters this Bija and exits the Bija through one of the chakras, through the different layers of chakras, and that's how consciousness is manifested. Okay, so when you get a constant flow of this formula of sound, the same way you do with music. That's why music have an effect on you, right? Your consciousness begin to take in the music, and then what happens? Your body begins to react to it, right? Your consciousness and mind begins to react to it, and it takes you into this different state. Well, mantra has that same effect when you begin to chant the mantra. It enters the Nadis, right? And as the Nadis interchange, because the Nadis actually interchange at the petals, because that's where the positive and negative come about to produce consciousness. And then it actually begins to translate, and it begins to have an effect on the auric fields. And that's what makes the auric fields begin to spin and react in the way it does with mantra. So that's that's one of the effects of mantra. That's why it's stated that the power of mantra is guaranteed. That's one of the reasons why it's guaranteed, because it has an effect to synchronize those chakras right away. And it stimulates those petals within the chakra, which gives it the correct ability to bring about a purified state for a moment. Once you get to a certain level. But it releases energy into the auric field, and if you can capture that energy, you can use that energy. But it does it on several planes of existence at once. So usually all 7 major planes of existence is used in order to is sound. In order to produce sound, in order to produce that sound, there's always at least 7, I think at least 7 sound bits to bring that about. Okay, so that's 7 realms of existence. So that's how you got to look at it, and that's the part that man can't really measure. Man can't really measure the other 6 subtle planes of existence. He really can't measure. He can if he tried, but he's really not aware of it. All right. So, and if you go to any of the Tantric, especially the Kundalini Tantra or Mantra Satra, Tantra Satra, the first thing they begin to talk about is sound, the 4 aspects of sound. And that's what they're talking about, because that is the creative power of the universe. All right, and that's the key to actually tap into this universal power. Okay?
Does thinking and whispering and spin the aura a similar effect on
Yeah. is begin work on a mental and a psychic level at that point. Okay? Because when you voice something, you're doing it mentally anyway. Yeah. But when you remove the consciousness from the physical plane and just do it and whisper it, whispering is the mental plane. And then when you do a pure thought, when you use the mudra yoga to place it on the psychic plane, then it's even on a higher level. But it's best to master the physical and the mental before you move to the psychic plane, because you can actually create brain damage from from doing it on the psychic plane without mastering the physical and mental plane. You can fracture the auric substance by doing it before time. So that's why you need to at least master or not master, but bring to an adept level of the physical and the mental before you go to the psychic on a permanent basis. You understand what I'm saying? Because what you're doing, I gave you a hint, you locking the energy, you locking certain energies in the body, in the auric body, right? That the proper Nadic lines have not formed to handle that energy. And then you have a backup a backup of energy that actually corrodes the physical vehicle.
Because it's higher.
It's a high quality energy that cannot be used properly. But the mudra that gives you, that's given in that practice, actually have you to lock the energy into the body and to force a higher state of consciousness, to move consciousness to a higher level. But if you have not prepared your physical and mental body for that, then you can have a setback. They can bring about dementia, some type of disease, some type of mental or neurological disease. So that you don't want to do that. So you want to practice on the physical level, then the mental level, then the psychic level. All right. So don't jump the gun. That's why it's given like that. That's why it's given like that. Why you want to know that? It might be. I'm sure it is. If you can think about it, I'm sure there's one out there that can do that. So I'm sure it is. But I mean, what's the use of it at this state of our evolution? We too stupid to move through time. We don't understand the laws of karma. The majority of mankind don't understand the laws of karma to be able to do that. So, isn't time what you say?
Isn't it? I know it's one of the dimensions one of the 7 dimensions of creation, but in a sense, isn't it? It's very relative. But time to us is completely different to time to a plant, to time to.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's perceived
But there's specific laws to it too, as well. So there are specific laws connected to time. So to tamper, if you had the power to tamper with it, you can only work within the laws of karma. In other words, you understand? Because you can bring tremendous negative karma on yourself. So you don't want that to happen.
I just can't consciously fathom yet how it can be manipulated. I guess it's
What?
Yeah, because I can see mind. Mind is something.
Just like you walk through,
Yeah.
you can walk through time.
Yeah, but
Most
ask,
distinguishes time.
ask me off the camera and I try to explain to you. You know.
It's like, mind is almost like an energy field. You can pull from it to change it. You know, but time is something it's like almost, it's a dimension resulted by motion. You know, this emotion, there's a time where it was here, but now it's here, so you distinguish. No motion resulted from time. Huh?
In other words, as I told you all before, the difference between a cosmic master and the masters of this earth, or the masters, or the normal human being, is that what? They can look through what? Yeah. Because why? Yeah, because it's like, yeah, because our consciousness can only proceed so much in a time frame, right? But to them, 1 minute can be 6 years of manipulating energy. You understand? Because of their level of consciousness. In other words, the higher level of consciousness you go on to, the more you can do in a space of time.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, so then, therefore, that's what makes time mutable.
But they're not really altering time. They're operating at such a higher level that time has less of a strain on them.
Well,
They're not limited by it.
no, but you're missing the point. You're missing the point. What if someone on Earth can I don't know, hyperlink to that level of consciousness? Okay, so now they can see the 6 years that it's going to take us to go through emotion. It's just like me taking a ball and throwing it against that wall, right? And they can, the person on a higher consciousness, they can live the time it take that ball to go and hit that wall, they can live through a whole year. So they can go about their way working, and they can see the ball going to hit the wall, you know. So if that's the case, then what happens? If a person can move from that level to this level, then what can they do? They can move through time. You understand?
Vaguely, yeah.
What?
I'm thinking Indestructible time too. But again, it's relative. It's relative to the forces when you're next to a black hole and when you're on Earth. And it's relative depending on where you're at. But you yourself didn't change. In that case, in the Interstellar case, you just changed your perception of your location.
In order to manipulate energy.
By its microseconds, because they're able to move time back and forth, the same way you move back and forth in the room.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I still don't understand. I still don't understand how they can do it.
It's through consciousness. It's through consciousness. That's how you have to look at it. You can't look at everything on a physical level, because everything starts and begins with what? With consciousness. So that's how you have to look at it. So that's why I was giving you the whole concept of consciousness, because it begins and ends with consciousness. Okay, if there's no more questions, we can close out. There's no questions online? Huh?
I answered the question they asked already, but you didn't know.
What was it?
Am I understanding that sound calls forth light, i.e. energy light, is correct?
Subtle sound, not sound as we know it. Did you tell her that? Did you tell the person that? there's a subtle and a parasound or etheric sound. Sound is moved through, the creative sound moves through the universe as nata, which is actually a subtle sound, a subtle creative sound that man can't measure. But that's why in all the ancient books, it says that God spoke the word and creation came about. But that's that parasound or the vox sound and the nada sound that creates the wave that allows everything else to happen. In other words, the sound created the space, and then there's this etheric force within the space that molds and shapes all matter, or the Mahabhutus, the cosmic elements, which is the I don't know, the millions or billions of galaxies that's out there. That's what's shaping it. This creative sound from the absolute. So.
I have a question, but it's not related to this. It's about something I read.
What's that?
Philosophical. I was reading this Buddhist book,
Mm-hmm.
and they were talking about, I guess, man's lower self, or different passions that we have inside of us.
Yeah.
They were warning that once you get into these teachings, one effect that might happen is a create this war with yourself, where you're constantly analyzing everything that's wrong, and you realize that you're not the great being that you want to be. So you create this like inner war with yourself. So they say that's wrong. You shouldn't do that.
Right.
You should be mindful of your weaknesses and your downfalls.
Yeah.
But accept it as part of you until you get overcome that.
Accept it as the lessons that you need to learn.
Yeah. They were basically saying, but I guess the way the word is accept that as part of you. That is you. Even to go against that, to fight it, is only to destroy yourself.
Well, I wouldn't say it like that. It's where you are right now. It's not necessarily who you are, but it's where you are right now. That's the lesson you have to learn for this particular time and space. And you can conquer that. And that's what you're here for, to conquer whatever disposition you're in right now, to move above it.
Yeah, so you should always acknowledge that this is something you need to overcome, but not necessarily don't get angry at yourself.
No, don't get angry at yourself. Don't create no psychosis. So, just say, this is where I am. Let me learn the best. Let me learn about this situation so that I can rise above it. And once you rise above it, go to the next lesson, the next lesson, the next lesson. Because this classroom, this earth is a classroom. This life is a classroom. So whatever you face here, it's a lesson for this time. So learn the lesson, learn it well, and move on, so that you don't have to repeat it anymore. If you don't, like I constantly tell you, you're going to repeat it over and over and over until you get it right. So let's have a prayer. Let's do a little prayer session. There's no more questions, right? And then let's go.